Hello and welcome, everyone. Come on in, hang out with me. The records are now open. I am, I am so happy that you are here again this Wednesday, whether you're joining me live or on the replay. I just want to open this episode by telling you thank you for being here. We have so many loyal followers every week and so many new guests coming in to check out what's happening here inside the Akashic Records. I get such a lift out of this time together. Please say hello once you get here. Instagram blowing it up today. Good to see you all. And some of you are joining me on Facebook or on YouTube. It is such a pleasure to be together again here in the house on Wednesdays. Can you feel the family connection in here? Not just because my mom is here, by the way. Hi, Mom. Everybody say hi to Mama for being in here. I truly want to thank you all for spending your time inside of this resource each week. I learn so much about myself. I learn about you. I learn about the Akashic Records from your questions. So thank you for being such a powerful part of my vision and my life and my vibe. It keeps my vibe super high coming in to serve you all in this space. So let us know where you're tuning in from. Not only are we going to extract intelligence from the Akashic Records today, we're also going to do activations that illuminate your DNA, bring your DNA online, making new things possible for you and for the rest of our planet. Because the more of us that begin to claim sovereignty over our lives and we begin to understand how our vibration, our thoughts are creating our reality, and we learn to create what we really want to experience, that's what freedom is coming back to this planet. The more of us that step into that, the more we step out of the matrix and this collective construct that we've participated in creating from the government down. We feel very restricted and victimized in a lot of ways. This is about taking your freedom back. So thank you for being such a big part of that. If you are new here, let me give you the lowdown on what the Akashic Records are, how they work, and then we'll get started. If you are I forgot the first activation. Back up. The guides just popped into my field. The guides want us to begin to imagine the grid illuminating. So where you all are tuning in from, that's why I say share with me where you're tuning in from. I'm coming to you from the High Sierras in Reno, Nevada. I see Philly. I see the UK. We got St. Louis in the house, Texas in the house. How about over here on Instagram? Where are you guys tuning in from? Begin to envision these pinpoints of light illuminating all over the planet. South Florida. Yes. Yes, thank you all. Yes. Okay, now we're rolling through here. And just pause for a moment and imagine all of the countries, all of these cities. So we are the biological carriers of vibration and consciousness. We're strengthening this grid to spread this love, this light, this peace, this freedom all over the planet. Thank you. Lena, I see you today from Maryland. Thank you for being here. All right, so if you are new, or I should say, and even if you've heard me say this before, allow a deeper layer of understanding. Practice listening as if you are listening with beginner's mind and beginner's ears, because this intelligence, we need a lot of layers of it. We need to hear it a lot of times. We need to practice it a lot of times before we can step into a higher level of mastery. The Akashic Records are the realm of consciousness that hold every single detail of your soul's incarnation, intelligence about this incarnation, other incarnations, past, present, all possible futures. All of this soul intelligence has been recorded from a neutral perspective, meaning the perspective of unconditional love and zero judgment. If you could use some more of that in your life, send some love, likes, hearts across the screen. Let's blow up the algorithms here. What's really standing in our way from receiving more love and light is the receivership, is the allowance of it. Because of our programming is our default mode of operation. Because our programming, for the vast majority of people here on this planet, our programming is a servant of our trauma. So basically, our trauma informs the programming. So we do a lot of things to protect ourselves. We've got our defenses up. We've got repeating patterns that are creating continual lack in areas of our life, financial, health, the connectivity of your relationships. So the Akashic records are a powerful tool that allow us to escape the pandemic, I'll call it, of processing ourselves and our life through our trauma. And it allows us to tap into extraordinary mind, God mind, soul level intelligence, so that you can see from a bigger perspective. And when you can see from a bigger perspective, you're going to get more data, you're going to get more knowledge, you're going to be able to make more informed decisions. Because right now, the truth is the vast majority of your decisions are being made out of default trauma mode. And you're talking yourself into it and justifying it. And so this is where we get to expand our perception so we can see things from different perspectives. And it's so important that you have different thought, because thought creates everything that we are experiencing. Your mind right now is creating a holographic reality, a simulated, let me use that word, a simulated reality. And when you learn to change your thoughts and see things differently and operate at a higher level than your subconscious patterns, that's when you become free. And then you begin to create, or you will see the result of the vibrational frequency that you're putting out. That's manifesting, is the result of the vibrational frequency we're putting out. You will begin to see manifest the things that you really desire, that are in vibrational frequency and alignment to love and light and freedom and the highest and best outcomes for you and your family and all of humanity. We're just saving the world up in here, you know? Freedom is at the core of what I value. And I feel really inspired by those freedom changers in our world. I mean, I don't know who you think of. I think of Gandhi. I think of Dr. Martin Luther King. And if we are to pick up where they left off, that means we're not actually going, I mean, we are going bigger when it comes to how we're addressing freedom, but what we're really doing, here's where the secret mastery sauce is you're going down. It's like if they did, Gandhi and Dr. King addressed national freedoms, freedoms of nations, freedoms of cultures, we're going to take it down even one more notch. And we're going to go for freedom of the individual. But this requires you to take radical responsibility for the vibrations that you're putting out there, for the thoughts that you're having. And most of your thoughts you're having on a subconscious level. You don't even realize that you're having them. The guides are also wanting me to just, again, thank you and congratulate you for as much of your time as you've spent here on Wednesdays, all up in this space, getting the answers from the Akashic records coming in, because there's an accumulation of energy and bandwidth. So every time you come into this space, you are increasing your ability to get more and more perspectives on life. So good for you. Thank you for being here. Let's dive into some questions. So the Akashic records work by asking questions. Yes, they hold every detail of your past, present, all possible futures, but they will only give you the intelligence that you're ready for. How do the records know that you're ready for it? You ask a question. That's one perspective on how the records work and how we get information. Another perspective means the same thing, but I'll tell it to you in a different way because I think this is pretty cool. In the records, everything is whole and complete. The reason we're asking questions down here is because we don't have a whole complete perspective, but in the records, everything is whole and complete. So when we pose a particular question, the question or the problem is only part of that, the totality of that issue. The rest of it, or the solution, the yin and the yang, all becomes illuminated by using God mind. So the question is actually what calls forward the vibrational frequency of the answer. See, two different perspectives on the same thing, all coming back to the questions though. So the show doesn't happen without Your questions, light them up for me in the chat box. Where do you feel stuck in your life? We can focus on getting unstuck in places today. If you guys don't want to take charge, I'll take charge up in here. I just thought I was showing up to answer your questions. No questions coming in yet. I'll help guide you a little bit. Let's work on areas where you feel stuck. Okay. Kelly Ritchie, bringing in the question here. Yeah. Thank you, Kelly. Kelly says, I'm making a huge shift in careers after 30 years in the same biz to take care of my health. My current job is so stressful. Amen. Let's hear some love, likes, hearts across the screen for Kelly. Good job, Kelly. This would have, first thing I want to say is this would have continued to cycle around and around and around again, this invitation for you to step away from how you're currently using our careers should really be our service to humanity. And serving your health so that you can fully show up to serve the planet. Love that. If you are in a similar situation to Kelly, just type KR. That's Kelly's initials. If you're in a similar situation where you're making a huge shift in life, which by the way, I would say this is characteristic of a lot of people that I'm working with right now. So we're moving into new timelines. If you do feel like you are wanting to know direction and what's next, and you're either on the verge of a shift because you've made the decision or you're wavering, just behind the decision, I want to invite you, make sure you check out the workshop we have coming up. I'm going to post a link in the comments. This is the What's Next workshop. Instagram, go grab it on my link tree. We are going to spend time working in our Akashic records, getting very clear on what the best next steps are for you that are in alignment with your soul direction. I'm so excited about this. I went into Vision Quest for myself to get this intelligence in. It was so good. I immediately put it into workshop form so I can share it with you guys. Okay, so good job, Kelly. I'm glad that you made the shift. You have an interview on Monday. Is this the right direction for me? Not sure where I want to go. Leaving a whole industry, need to find a new industry. So okay, let me tap in and see what the guides are wanting to say. But my first hunch was I felt like they answered the question around the interview. Is this the right direction? Really quickly. They said yes and no. It's the right direction to explore, but there are other things that you can do to explore. Because knowing if something is the right direction for you or not, you can't know that information until you know where you want to go. So it's just like, think about using your GPS. You'd be like, hey, am I going the right way? Well, you didn't tell me where you want to go. Oops. Reminds me of, I learned a lot of lessons as a kid the hard way. My teenage years were tough. And I can't remember what trouble. Mom, don't fill in the blank if you know, by the way. But I can't remember specific what trouble I got into, where I walked into my room one day and on my mirror, my dad had taped a quote from Alice in Wonderland, where Alice is lost in Wonderland and she stops to talk to the Cheshire Cat. And she says, excuse me, sir, but can you tell me which direction to go from here? And the cat says, well, that depends a great deal on what direction you want to go. She said, I don't much care where. He said, then it doesn't matter which direction you go. Oh, yeah, there's the just wave of emotion. I had good parents, y'all. Those of you who travel with me, you get to meet my mom in person too. So Kelly, you want to back up a few steps and allow your heart to guide you in the direction of where your joy is. And we all truly know where our joy is. It can be really hidden. You might have to go way on back to your childhood, but we all have access to knowing where our curiosity is, what brings us joy. Again, yes, our trauma clouds that, but deep within you, there is a knowingness. This is within your DNA. And so I want to do the activation right now, illuminating this essence of you, so that you can understand yourself better, so you can know what it is that you really, really want, what really brings you joy. So let's place one hand on the heart. Other hand, doesn't matter which hand, just intuitively choose a hand. It looks like my right hand went to my heart and left hand down to the womb, the sacral chakra. And just breathe. And what we're doing is we're activating, womb is where we store unprocessed emotion. So this is going to help remove some of that unprocessed emotion that might be challenging you from really claiming your joy or being able to see it. And then the heart's activating that joy, bringing it forward. Nice deep breaths. One more. Good job. Kelly says, yes, explore. That's what I was feeling too. All right, great confirmation. Let's all give Kelly another round of applause. Love like hearts across the screen. That was an incredibly powerful activation for all of you who received that, which by the way, the activations are for all of us. We all get to receive. For those of you who received that, your job next is to pay attention for ideas that come up in your mind, curiosities, things that you might want to explore, joy, something that might be fun. And then notice, ooh, this is a good one. The guides are saying, notice how long or short of a duration there is before you begin to see or feel resistant thoughts coming in. Yeah, well, I can't do that. Oh, that would be nice. And that will also show you where you can begin to work with just allowing the resistance to calm the heck down. Okay. I am going to grab a question off Instagram next. All right, Phil, pour repeat. Your question is how to allow with ease and grace my family making poor food choices. I am learning surrender and investigating my health, but it hurts me that they eat poison. Whoo! I heard that too. All right, let's send some love likes hearts across the screen for Phil, pour repeat. And how many of you, give me a hands up emoji if you have this challenge too, or maybe you have the challenge with yourself. The guides are even saying you're learning, you know that you need to put better fuel into your body, yet you might not still be making the best food choices. All right, let me tap in and see what the guides have to say about this. First thing is that we're practicing mastery in every single moment, and mastery around non-judgment is a challenging one. So notice where your judgment comes up, and then be gentle with yourself. And then, as stewards of the intelligence, ask your guides for ways that you can share, you can model, you can get curious and ask questions. You can be more helpful rather than expressing in a way that causes someone's defenses to come up. The guides also want to talk about self-hatred. And they say that self-hatred is an epidemic in our culture. We're going to talk about that in the WhatsApp workshop and begin to see all of the areas where self-hatred influences our decisions and we don't even realize it. It's so subtle. But to a certain degree, everyone on the planet is experiencing this. And so when it comes to making shifts and changes in our life, the guides are saying right now there's a direct correlation to how much we love ourselves, to how easy or difficult that's going to be. And if you're still vibrating, or if one is still vibrating in a high frequency of self-hatred, their mode of operation is usually defensiveness. We're trained to defend. And so it's really what the guides are saying is it's not so much about the actual food choices. It's about how those of us as wisdom keepers, way showers, guides, thought leaders, visionaries, how do we onboard others to our vision? How do we inspire? How do we become biological mechanisms for the forward movement of change And how do we do that? By changing ourselves and our approach. Woo, that's powerful. All right, let's do a third eye activation for that one. Woo, let's send some more love likes hearts across the screen. Phil Poor repeat. That was a good channeling that came in. I'd love to know what's landing in your field today, either through the first or the second channeling that we've experienced. What's landing for you today? If you're brave, type it in. But even if you don't type it in, be sure to pause and self-reflect. What's landing for me? All right, let's do the third eye activation. Licking the finger, touching the third eye. Third eye is between the brows, the two hemispheres of the brain, your pineal gland. And then just begin to breathe. Deep breath in. Imagine that you're breathing with your third eye. Inhaling. Exhaling. And notice when you lick your finger and touch the third eye, it brings a coolness. It's easy to focus your awareness. And when we focus our awareness on one point, we are engaging with the innate intelligence that exists within that energy center. So your third eye is expanding right now as we breathe. Your third eye is where you have your psychic powers, your psychic senses, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance. I'm not going to go into what each one of those are today. I'm going to say probably 85% of you know. And it's okay if you don't. Another thing we're going to break down in what's next, the workshop, is activating the next level of awareness in the intuitive senses, enhancing. Wherever you're starting off now, we're going to be enhancing. All right, good stuff. Let's grab another question here. Sanic78 says, can you talk about letting go of old habits, relationships that are not serving, and making room for new beginnings? Woo, good one. Round of applause, please, for Sanic78. Guys, sometimes it can be challenging and vulnerable, sometimes, all the time it's vulnerable, to formulate the areas of our life where we are experiencing problems and challenge into a question and putting it out there for, you're putting it out to get higher level insight and response, but there can be fear of judgment putting that out there. So I appreciate each one of you who have asked questions today. Let's see what the guides want to say about letting go of old habits, relationships that are not serving, and making room for new beginnings. Okay. Okay. What the guides say is that we're always using 100% of our energy for something. And so when it comes to the patterns around old habits, we have those patterns for a reason. Sometimes, they're dysfunctional, especially if they're patterns that aren't serving us. And we're creating them out of a need somewhere. And it's important to understand what that need is, what that core need is that the habit is meeting and addressing. And that we meet that or address it in a different way or a more constructive way. And that more constructive way has to be planned out. You have to have that in your back pocket ready to go when whatever stimulates or triggers the old pattern emerges. So step one is identify the underlying need that's causing you to have this habit or to be in the relationship. And then say, okay, how am I going to meet this need differently? If you notice that what's underneath a bad habit is the response from a trauma you experienced in your life, there are other things that you can do besides create adaptive negative patterns. You can heal it. You can work deeply within your Akashic records and heal it. I'll be honest with you, not everybody is ready to take full responsibility for what we've experienced and created yet. It's challenging, especially when we feel like victims. And so not everybody is ready to heal yet. So if you're not ready to heal it at the core wound, Find another way to treat or meet the need of that habit that's going to serve you in a different way. And then you've got to do that new thing. You've got to take immediate action. You can't just think of the new idea and be like, all right, I'll try that next time. Nope, you got to take immediate action. All right, let me see what the guides have to say about making room for new beginnings. Well, they're saying making room for new beginnings. Again, we use 100% of our energy all the time. So it's not really like we're making room. We're just consciously using our energy to support something new. I understand the concept of making room for things. And I quite like it. If you were here in the beginning of the broadcast, the guides gave two different perspectives on, or two different theories on questions and why we ask questions and why they're important. I feel like that it's not like they're negating the idea of making room for something new. They're just giving us an alternate perspective to realize that we're always operating with 100% of our energy and our capacity. We're just delegating how much time we are allocating for all of the different things. Sleep, moping, puttering around, distracting ourselves, journaling, meditating, eating. But it's basically the idea that we all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's more about rearranging the energies that we're currently working with. Does that make sense? That's pretty interesting. All right, let me know if that's dropping in for you all. Sandy says, yes, I am ready to heal. Cool. All right, let me see if the guides want to say anything else about where you look to heal. It feels like childhood and then masculine energy. So could be father, could be overly structured. If it's not literal, then it's figurative. So that's what I heard the guides say in terms of where to look. And then let's shift into Sean Morris's questions here. What are some great techniques to heal past childhood and even recent traumas? And I'll offer this formula as an activation for you all, and gives me one more great opportunity to invite you to the What's Next workshop, because I will go over this formula in more detail. But it's basically identify the pattern or the trauma, reframe it. You got to tell it from a completely different perspective. You got to examine, how is this serving me? If I were telling this story from a different vantage point, what could it look like? If I were the hero rather than the victim, what would this look like? You got to do that. You got to do that investigation to reframe, and then take action. A lot of that intelligence, again, I will extrapolate on more in What's Next, but very specific and detailed and easy to follow information dropped into my field recently on a need basis, because I shouldn't laugh. It's not funny. That's my uncomfortable laughter there. My 16-year-old was carjacked and kidnapped, and we got him back without a scratch on him, which is divine order and protection, which may I just call divine order and protection over each one of your lives here today, whether you're watching now or on the replay. You are divinely guided, guarded, and protected at all times. And so it is. Because we are. It's incredible. But yeah, there was potential for trauma for my son to experience as a result of that afternoon. And because of what dropped in from the records and what I've been able to share with him, he at this point has zero signs of any PTSD. Now, I will also say, I think immediate response and action, taking immediate action, because I had that access point, benefited him and all of us greatly, because there wasn't this like consecration, or think of the water that flows and eventually creates the Grand Canyon, right? When we go over and over and over and we rehearse something many, many times, it becomes an ingrained neural pathway. We got to this before there were those neural pathways ingrained. So I feel really grateful and blessed. All right. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. If this has served you today, please take a moment, share this out, send it to a specific person if you know that they could benefit from what you heard today. And also, I'll encourage you to share on your platforms. The more and more of us that come into this work and we begin to take responsibility for our actions, we take our freedom back, the easier it gets for everybody to escape the matrix and begin creating a life that you love living. I love my life. I'm getting ready for an amazing travel experience tomorrow. Come with me on a fun adventure, by the way. Stay tuned here at the Akashic Academy, because I will be sharing with you where I'm at and where I'm going and the crazy quantum antics that we will be up to. And I hope to see you all next week. What's Next starts on Tuesday. So make sure you join me for that. All right. Have a great day, everybody.